Hey, what's up? This is Chosen. I'm running behind today. Sorry, but I am here. We have got a lot to cover. Big drops today. We finally know what the 10x is, and we finally know what the kit is going to be for the upcoming Halloween event. I have not looked at the kit at all. I'm going to react to it live and give you my first reaction as I read through it, and then I'll get you full context on everything we know so far. So let's get into it. Alrighty, so as you can see here, we've got some compensation as we log in today because of issues experienced, recently with the server. Pretty decent, 500 energy, a day of XP, and some tokens. I would have liked to just throw in a void shard or something, let people YOLO something, but all in all, pretty decent compensation. But now, first off, let's get into the juicy stuff. Let's get into this kit. And it does not show on there, but we have got the faction being the Undead Hordes. I know I can hear all of you groaning right now. Another Undead Hordes event and legendary. A little bit unfortunate there, another undead, but it just fits too well with Halloween. It's hard for them probably to not do a Halloween champion that isn't undead. Then we get obviously a legendary for the rarity, and it's going to be an attack champion that is void affinity. So that's actually encouraging because it's pretty rare that we get void champions. Last Halloween was Elgato magic affinity. The one before that was Harvest Jack spirit affinity, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but the only fusion event they've done for a void is Torment the Cold. So this is very rare. So out the gate, I'm hopeful that this could be pretty good here, but I have not read the kit yet. But okay, let's get into the big reveal here. A1 Thirsting Blade attacks one enemy. That's actually surprising. In the artwork they had, it looked like there was a blade ability that was an AoE, so I am surprised by that. Decrease target's max HP by 30% of damage inflicted. Okay. Also heal this champion by 30%. So hopefully the A1 hits hard. Remember, we don't see the books, we don't see the multipliers, but if it hits hard, it could be decent, and it could be a very good ability for speed farming the Scarab because he's got some sustain and then basically a built-in destroy set on the A1. Then we've got an A2. It says cooldown on 4. I guarantee it books to 3. Now this is the AoE with a 75% chance of placing a leech. We can probably book that up to 100. Also a 75% chance of stealing 50% of the turn meter from champions of Banner Lords, Sacred Order, or High Elf. So he's going to be designed to counter champions in that specific faction. Has a 75% chance, I bet we can book up to 100, of decreasing the turn meter by 50% if targets are not in that faction. So still going to get a lot of value with the AoE, Leech, and decreased turn meter, but he will actually steal the turn meter and add it to himself if it's one of those 3 factions. Then moving on to the A3, Mind Shroud. Attack one enemy 2 times. The first hit has a 75% chance, that'll book up to 100, of placing a 60% defense down for 2 turns. The second hit will have a chance to place a block active skills debuff for 2 turns. And if both debuffs are placed, place a perfect veil on this champion for 2 turns. Now that could book to 2. It's a single target ability. That's a big note there. I'm gonna say it's like 80% it books to a 3-turn cooldown, and like 20% that it books to a 2-turn cooldown. Then we've got the passive here. Places a revive on death buff on this champion for 2 turns every time this champion kills an enemy. Also fully heals the champion and their turn meter by 50% every time they kill an enemy. Will only heal this champion and fill the turn meter when Constrain the Dayborn is on the same team. Or sorry, Constantin the Dayborn. Must be a future champion coming down the road, because that name is not familiar to me right now. And we're only going to get the second part of that passive with the heal and the turn meter fill if there is the tandem there on the same team. So we're going to get a consistent revive on death as long as he is killing things, like in Tag Team Arena or as a campaign farmer in dungeons, whatever. All in all, revive on death is hard to get consistent value out of, but it's a nice little bonus here on a passive. So okay, gosh, it's really hard because especially on an attack champion, a champion that has things based on getting kills, based on snowballing, I've got to know their multipliers. I don't know. I don't know if he hits like a pillow. I don't know if he hits like Trunda. I have no idea. So I can't even grade this guy without knowing that, because you just have to know if it's a damage dealer. Like if it's somebody like a Sify, I don't have to know Sify's multipliers to know that she's going to be good, because she doesn't have a kit that revolves around doing damage and hitting hard. This guy does, so I have to know that. All in all, reading the kit, I would say I'm neither excited or like upset. Or disappointed, I guess would be a better word. It looks promising. As long as they get his multipliers right, it could be a lot of fun to have that A1 in the Scarab with the built-in sustain and the decrease in the max HP, the base, the built-in destroy set could be a lot of fun there, and help progressing accounts. Have a DPSer with some self-sustain. Then we've got an AOE leash that's going to provide more sustain to your team while also lowering turn meters and stuff. So if you get even high speed, high damage, could be a very suppressive A2. And the Mind Shroud is going to be really good for boss fights because you're going to get the defense break, and you're also going to get the block active skills if it's not a boss. And then he's also going to place Veil on himself, so you can build him like a glass cannon and kind of help him stay alive. And then you've got the Revive on Death chance for that to proc as long as he's getting kills in your dungeon runs or in the arena and whatnot. So I think the kit in general makes sense. We just have to hope they get the multipliers right and the books right to make him kind of synergize and be built properly. And then this is the artwork right here for the champion, the aesthetics. We already kind of knew 90-something% of what he was going to look like based on the teaser I showed you in my last wrap-up video about this guy. I love the Daedric armor look. Kind of reminds me of playing Skyrim and Oblivion and going up against those Daedric knights with the sword and the armor. Kind of gives me that vibe, and the cape. So yeah, I think they nailed it on the outfit and the weapon. The face is a little bit of the Ninja Syndrome. It doesn't quite fit the aesthetic and the theme, in my opinion. Maybe some of you like it, but I would give the armor, the sword, and the general aesthetic like a 9 out of 10, and then I would give the face like a 5 out of 10. But that is not all we have to talk about in this video, because we have got a 10x event starting on Friday for the following champions: Leorius the Proud, MaShalled, Noble, Elder Skarg, Inquisitor Shamil, Pharsalus Gravedirt, Canelia, and the Masked Fearmonger. So now let's get you my quick hit thoughts and context on each one of these champions in the 10x. First up, we have Leorius the Proud. This guy is insane. He's a very new champion to raid. Every time I face him in Tag Team Arena or whatever, he ends up stomping me if I don't prepare properly. So he is definitely a very, very good champion. The crown jewel of this event for sure, and definitely worthy of being the Void Legendary part of the 10x for this event. Then for MaShalled, I am a little bit surprised they did a 10x for MaShalled, because we did just have a 10x event featuring Duchess and MaShalled, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago. MaShalled definitely a really, really good champion as well, though. A little bit more of a support, but he can also do damage. If you build him to do damage, he hits surprisingly hard. He's not just a flat-out support. So, yeah, Leorius and MaShalled are definitely very good champions for a 10x. Noble is one of the newer legendaries, obviously, with the Shadowkin, and his kit is designed in a way where it's just too hard to get consistent value out of it. Yeah, he's definitely a below average legendary, and probably towards the bad side in terms of getting consistent performance out of legendary. So not a huge fan of Noble. Elder Skarg, I think, is a little bit better than people give him credit for. He can be very good with this new kind of HP burn meta in the Spider. He can do surprisingly well there, and also in Faction Wars. He's not an account carry or anything, but he is probably not as bad as people think he is. Then as we move into the epics, Inquisitor is a very good epic. He hits insanely hard with this ability right here, this triple hitter that ignores defense and then places a true fear on all enemies if he gets a kill, which is super common. So he is actually a good epic to get built. You can get a lot of value out of him in the Doom Tower or also in Tag Team Arena for sure. So definitely a solid epic. Pharsalus, I mean, he's really not that bad. He's got a little bit of CC on the A1 with AoE heal reduction. He's based on defense, so he's pretty sturdy. He's going to be a shielder when booked on a 3-turn cooldown that also places strengthen, so that's a lot of toughness for your team. So I could see him being pretty good for Faction Wars and maybe even some of those progression type accounts for dungeons and stuff. Canelia is going to be one that can be pretty decent. It's probably hard to use in a general sense of getting consistent value, but has some fun things like increasing cooldown on the A1, and we're also going to be doing AoE sleep with another passive effect. So yeah, she's got some fun stuff in the kit here, also some support and a pretty decent aura of 18% speed in all battles. Then wrapping it up with Masked Fearmonger, probably the worst epic out of the 4. Definitely not worth YOLOing shards for. So he's kind of a damage dealer here, built around kind of the fear theme and stuff, but he's just not, he just doesn't have a kit that can cut it in terms of being one of those champions you'd want to prioritize building. So yeah, all in all, remember it is Leorius, MaShalled, Noble, Elder Scarg, Inquisitor, Pharsalus, Cornelia, and Masked Fearmonger. So if you're really close to Mercy with like Sacreds or something and you want to go for MaShalled, I could see that making sense. If you're really close to the Void Mercy, I could see it making sense. It makes even more sense on a 10x to go for Voids as opposed to non-Voids because there's so many less Void Legos that the 10x is a lot more impactful. A lot more odds that you'll hit the proc of that 10x on the Void side of things. So for 97% of you, we're coming up on a fusion. It's probably best to save your shards instead of YOLOing a bunch. But I would say for MaShalled and Leorius, it might make sense for some of you out there if you're close to Mercy and you want to pull a few just to hit that Mercy and maybe get a really good champion. Then as we move on to the tournaments going on in game, right now this is a pretty standard Fire Night tournament. Nothing crazy to take note of, and not really an indictment on skipping it or anything if you want to prioritize your resources elsewhere. Classic Arena Takedown, this is just a normal Classic Arena Takedown. Again, nothing to really talk about, but tomorrow we're going to have the special Dragon Tournament where you can only use epics, and there will be fragments up for grabs. That is part of the events they are doing to grab fragments, and then we'll also have a Tag Team Arena Tournament starting tomorrow. Then as we dive into the events tab, we have got a summon rush that's going to be coinciding with the 10x. That'll basically act as a pseudo countdown. When you see that countdown of the summon rush kind of expire, that should be pretty much exactly when the 10x is going to start. And then we have a dungeon divers ending in a couple days. I would expect you to want to get to 2600 at least and scoop up those core hammers, but you probably want to be managing your resources in a smart way because we're going to have a lot of events coming up for the new kind of Halloween champion pretty soon here. So maybe take it easy and just kind of expend the minimum that you have to. Now we can fire up the offers and see if there is anything going on in the shop here. We've got the 20 energy refills and the 5500 energy. 1.39, not going to cut it. Now, somebody was saying I always say this grades out as a 2.5, but I haven't plugged it in a while, so I will go ahead and do that. I do read through your comments, and somebody wants me to plug this in. It probably has been a few weeks since I have, so let's go ahead and do it. We've got energy of 1500, 1150 on the gems, and then, nope, not 1150 plus. There we go. All right, and then we've got 8, 4, and 2 for the shards. 8, 4, 2, 2.45. I lied. It's not a 2.5. It is a 2.45. It actually depends a little bit on your spending tier. There's a few different versions of the monthly pack. I think there's at least 2. There's like a $30 one and a $50 one, depending on your spending tier. So yeah, it usually grades out somewhere between like 2.4, 2.5, somewhere in there. It's mostly a decent offer and pretty generally useful here if you're in the market to spend money on raid. Okay, then we've got this one here, and boom. I think I just plugged this, or wait, no, this is a different one. So we've got 120 brews and 1800 energy, 2.5 million, and then 15 and 7 on tomes, 2.35. If you're in the market for books, like if you've already got lots of really good champions you haven't been able to invest in yet, and you're a higher spender on raid, this one would make sense for you if your champions are above kind of the amount you've invested in by now. Special progress pack. This one might be a little bit better than the other energy offer, but it's still gonna not be great. We've got 1.5 energy, 2500, gems, 1500, and then energy refills of 25, 1.78. So not great. $25 for 5-star stun gear is not gonna cut it. And by the way, on the way out, I did forget, my apologies. I forgot to mention when this is going to launch, when the Halloween events are going to happen in game. It is going to be Thursday, October 28th. And if you forced me to grade based on what I'm seeing so far, I don't want to be a fence sitter, I'd say B+. Again, I can't go A on a damage dealer until I know the multipliers. It's too important as to how much value they're gonna have. But I'd go B+. Like, cautious optimism, because it looks like some fun stuff here, some self-sustain, some revive on death, some AoE damaging, you know, some utility in the Scarab boss, which a lot of people are looking for. So yeah, we got defense break versus bosses, block active skills versus normal enemies, some turn meter suppression. So yeah, some fun stuff going on here. I'm cautiously optimistic that this could be a fun fusion event, and we'll have to, once we kind of know all that stuff, the books, the multipliers and stuff, we'll have to get this guy compared to Elgato and Harvest Jack, because those are the other Halloween events. But I need to get over to stream. I'm running behind today, like I said. It's been a crazy morning, so if you want to come talk about this guy and hang out on stream, I will be live for the next few hours talking with you guys and playing some raids. So that will do it for me on this one. As always, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.